Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Richard Kelly. I am with Key Staffing and Premier Employment Solutions, and I am also on the executive team with Forge. We are here today as part of our Inspire Committee's Forge Care series. It is a monthly series that we produce where we interact with local organizations here in the Topeka area to learn a little bit about what they're doing out in the community and how Forge members can help get involved and volunteer with those facilities and give back to the Topeka community. Today, we're privileged to have with us the Helping Hands Humane Society. They've been locally owned and operated here in Topeka for a many number of years and have been located off of 21st Street for about 7 years now, or I'm sorry, 8 years here in Topeka. I've got with me Katie Jesseph, volunteer coordinator with the Helping Hands Humane Society, and I've also got Emi Griess, the communications coordinator with the Helping Hands Humane Society. Thanks both of you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
We're excited to have you and learn a little bit more about the Helping Hands Humane Society. A lot of folks, you know, when they know or think of the Helping Hands Humane Society, they obviously first instinct for someone like me goes to dogs and cats and adoption. But if each of you or one of you wants to share with us, just tell us a little bit about the Helping Hands Humane Society and what you'd like Forge members to know.
Well, I was going to ask Katie, I know she recently did a little history deep dive about how Helping Hands first started way back in the day. Katie, do you want to give a little historical overview?
Sure. So interestingly, it started by a judge, C.G. Foster, and it was originally for both wayward children, I guess, or children in need, and then also like horses mainly, and it was out of people's homes, purely volunteers. And then it kind of evolved. It became like the Shawnee County Humane Society, and then it finally became Helping Hands Humane Society. And it was on Rochester Road for many, many years. I think it was like almost 60 years. And then we moved into this building in 2013. And this building is obviously much bigger. They put a lot of thought into how it was designed to kind of minimize stress for animals and be able to have enough room for all of the animals. And so it's kind of really come a long way, and it has a really long history, which I didn't realize before I started working here.
Yes, and some important things just to know about what we are and how we function is there are different types of shelters and rescues in the animal welfare world, and we are a little bit more of a rare type because we are a private nonprofit, but we have a contract with our city, with the government, with animal control, that we will take in all of the animals that animal control picks up. This is where they come when they've picked up stray animals or animals that have potentially been neglected or abused, and this is where we house them. So we're not a municipal shelter, we're not completely private because we do have that contract with our government. So that's kind of a unique situation, and we can house hundreds of animals in our building. Right now we have over 200, but at our busiest times we've had over 700 animals, which is a lot to have. And we do also have families in the community, foster homes, which I'm sure we'll talk about fostering in this interview, who help care for some of those animals, but most of them are here in our shelter.
Very cool. How long have each of you been involved with Helping Hands Humane Society?
So
go ahead. I started in the end of 2012, and we moved to the new shelter beginning of 2013, so right before all of that.
So I started like a year and a month ago, and so it was it was like 2 months before everything shut down. So my job has been really different than it would normally be. But yeah, so just over a year.
Yes, that's a great segue, because that was going to be one of my questions, in that for Forge members that may be interested in learning more about Helping Hands or even volunteering, what does that look like right now in the COVID-19 world?
So we're really excited. It's looking like we're going to be able to start doing animal handling classes again and new volunteer tours. We kind of were waiting for the Shawnee County scorecard to hold a little more steady and hopefully start declining, which it has, which we're very excited about. And so if somebody's interested in volunteering, they can go to our website, and there's a tab that says volunteer, and then there's a drop-down menu that says how to become a volunteer. And there's a really short application. It mostly just has like contact information. And then when things shut down, I moved a lot of things virtual, and we've decided to keep some of that because people really liked it. So the first part of our training is all virtual, and I send those materials to you, and then we do a tour of the building, and we can get you signed up for handling classes, and then you can start volunteering.
Awesome. Tell us what kind of volunteer opportunities are available for folks that would be interested.
So it's kind of fun because I always tell people, like, we have a place for everybody. So if you really like cats, we can, get you through a cat handling class. You can do cat enrichment. You can read to the cats. You can take cats on stroller rides. If you like dogs, we can put you through a dog handling class. You can take dogs for walks, take them to the play yard, do enrichment with them, work on like teaching them basic manners and some fun like trick type things that helps make them more adoptable. If you like pocket pets, we also have pocket pets sometimes. So like hamsters, guinea pigs, birds, and we have certain volunteers who are really into that. We're working on a virtual pocket pet training for those volunteers. If you aren't wanting to work hands-on with animals, we also have like clerical stuff that we need help with, laundry, general cleaning. So there's kind of just whatever your talent is, we can kind of find a place for you.
Definitely. And again, they can go to hhhs.org and find out more information. Is that right?
hhhstopeka.org. Yes.
Okay, fantastic. And is there a certain criteria as far as number of hours a person must put in per month? And, I guess what would the obligation look like?
So our volunteers have a lot of flexibility. There's a little less flexibility right now because you do have to sign up ahead of time before you come in to volunteer. Typically, it would be people could come in whenever. But we like for people to at least volunteer 4 or 5 hours a month, because that's coming in usually like for an hour a week, and it kind of keeps you involved. And that way, if there are any changes in the shelter, you're kind of on board. If somebody hasn't volunteered at all for like 6 months, we have them go through the training again. But aside from that, there's a lot of flexibility. You can come in for a half hour. You can come in for 3 hours. You can come in any day of the week. We have time slots on every day. We don't have a lot of evening opportunities because obviously we aren't open past 6. But so there's a lot of flexibility for volunteers as far as how often and what days they choose to come in.
Awesome. And out of curiosity, how did each of you get involved with the Helping Hands Humane Society? Do either of you have a background in the animal industry, or what led you to the Humane Society?
So I had graduated with my master's in creative writing and English literature, nothing to do with the nonprofit or animal welfare. I just loved animals my whole life growing up, and I actually was volunteering at the shelter as I was trying to figure out what jobs do I want to apply for, what's my next career move going to be. Really enjoyed volunteering, and a job became open. I decided, what the heck, I've always loved animals, why not apply for it? And I started out as an adoption counselor, so those people that work with the families adopting animals, which is a really rewarding job. Then eventually I became the volunteer coordinator, and then I became the communications coordinator. So now I get to update our website and our social media and do news interviews, all of the messages that we're communicating out to the public, which is probably the closest job now to my English degree that I actually got back in the day. But it's been amazing, and I love working here.
Great.
So I'm very fortunate because the person who was the volunteer coordinator at one point is still here. So I get to benefit from that. But so it was kind of funny. I was looking at doing the urban CGC with my dog, and I had heard that Helping Hands sometimes offered those classes. And I had left a job and was kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to do next. I did an internship with a dog trainer. I had gotten really involved with dogs a few years ago. I've always had pet dogs, but I had a dog that I got really involved with. And I was looking for the class on the website, and there was a jobs tab, and I was like, well, I might as well look. And they had this volunteer coordinator position open, and I had worked for nonprofits before, worked with volunteers some before, so it was all stuff that I was fairly familiar with. And then I also had some dog training background, And so, yeah, so that's how I ended up here. It was kind of just a coincidence that I was on the website.
Sure. Sure. And Emi, this question's probably a little bit more for you, but you, as you said, you've been with the organization now for since 2012, and they've been in the current facility since January of 2013. What changes have you seen take place from that time, and where do you, both of you see the organization going in, say, the next 5 years?
Oh man, it's been exciting to work here over the years, especially moving into the new building. That obviously was a huge change all at once. We suddenly had this state-of-the-art facility, a lot more space, but it also presented different challenges because we were used to being a team that was in a small little building together. Now we're all spread out. So like, how do we communicate? How do we make things work? So there have been a lot of changes. The bigger building offered us the ability to have more volunteers come in and actually help us just because we had the space, we had more animals. So the volunteer program has definitely grown a lot. The foster program has also grown. So people helping take care of pets in their homes until those pets are ready to go up for adoption. In 2014, our medical center inside of our shelter opened, and that might be the number one biggest change that's had the biggest impact, because now we have a vet on staff who can spay and neuter all the cats and dogs before they go up for adoption, can do medical checkups on them, give them medication, other special surgeries. That's been amazing for our shelter. But we've also implemented an enrichment program to just make the lives better of the animals who are here. We've expanded our training programs because a lot of the pets come in and really what they need is one-on-one work, training, socializing. There's all kinds of stuff. And then, of course, in the future, we recently announced that we're now building a low-cost spay-neuter clinic inside of our shelter. So we're lucky we're in an old Dillons and there's plenty of room in here for us to do all these different projects that are going on.
And Katie, even for you in the year and several months you've been in with the organization, what type of changes have you seen in that time?
Sure. So I think the biggest changes for me have been trying to help the volunteer program adapt to a very unique situation. But we've had some things that I think are going to remain permanent, and I think they're really great things. So we used to do an in-person orientation, but instead of that, we do that part virtual. And I really like it because people are able to do like the orientation and watch some presentations, look at our manual, and decide if this is really somewhere that it's a good fit for them to volunteer. And there's no pressure of like in-person stuff. It's also really nice because it's very flexible for people who may have kids or work full time. They can kind of fit in that training whenever. And then they're able to do a tour if they've decided, yes, I'd like to move forward with this process. So I think moving some things virtual has been really great. And I am excited about, what other opportunities. I've also started doing more like Zoom meetings, which is really fun and exciting. And I think that will probably continue some for, like elementary school classes and Girl Scout groups. So yeah, I think that's probably the biggest change that I've seen. And it was just kind of out of necessity.
Definitely. And last kind of full question would be, each of you probably have some memories or things that you can think back of on the time that you've been there. What's one of your favorite memories from the time you've had working with the Helping Hands Humane Society?
This is a perfect question for the room that I picked to be in today, because this is a senior cat named Annie, and she's about 10 years old. She only has one tooth, and her owner passed away, and now she's looking for a new family. And she reminds me of another cat named Annie that back when I was an adoption counselor, and it was right after we moved to this new building, she was probably about 10. She really didn't seem to like anyone because she just didn't like being in here. It was too loud, too many strangers and new people. She was one of those cats that you knew just wanted to find her home, find her spot, relax during the day, and probably have her one person that she got used to. And I worried for this cat that she wasn't going to be able to find the right home. And a woman came in who was a teacher. She's like, my house is really quiet. I just like to read at home in the evenings. And was just completely understanding of how grumpy this cat Annie was. I mean, Annie wasn't like affectionate towards her or anything, but she just felt like it was the right fit and it was a good adoption. And my favorite thing is that for years after this, every year she would send me a card with like picture updates of Annie, and Annie would be like laying in a sunbeam in her house, and you could just see how happy this cat was, that I was worried there wasn't the right family out there for her. So we always say that not every pet is the perfect fit for every family, but there is the right family out there for every pet. And that's, what we try to do. So being able to help make that connection is probably a memory that will stay with me forever.
Absolutely. Great answer. And what about for you, Katie?
So it's kind of funny because I have a very similar answer. So my husband is a volunteer, and he comes in and we work with different dogs. Some of them, sometimes they're on the adoption floor. Sometimes they are, going to do another behavior assessment. They need some time and some work. And so there was one dog in particular. I had been here when he came in the first time. He got adopted out. Unfortunately, he got returned. It wasn't a good fit. And we were really concerned about him, and he had some challenging behaviors, and we worked really hard with him. And, my husband would come in once or twice a week. We would get him out, spend quite a bit of time with him. And we were really worried about finding the right home for him. And the perfect family came along. They had a dog that looked just like him, and they adopted him, and they worked so hard. He had like some separation anxiety and some different things. They've really put in the work, and they send us updates, and it's just been like the perfect home for him. And, they've told us, like he's doing really well. We just really love him. His separation anxiety's gotten better. We've probably gotten 2 or 3 updates over the last few months, and that success was just really exciting, and I love that they send the updates.
Absolutely. Both of you just you can tell the passion that you have for the work that you do. It seems like that you both have a great understanding of the relationship you need to have with not only your volunteers and coworkers, but also with the pets and those coming in to adopt within your facility. Just kind of wrapping things up. Again, so Forge members are interested in volunteering. They can go to hhstopeka.org. And about how many volunteers would you say you guys, would overall say you have?
So that's a tricky question because we had several months where we didn't have volunteers coming in, and it's been very odd. I would say right now we probably have about 100 super active volunteers. I think in a normal year, that number would be quite a bit higher. Emi, what would you say would be more normal?
At one point when we were running reports, what we considered active is like people who have been in the last 6 months, and it was like about 500 in a normal year when people could come in anytime they wanted.
Well, in closing, any I guess advice or things you would share with someone that is interested in learning more about Helping Hands or adopting or volunteering?
Yeah, our website I try to keep it a place of great information for you to find, but if you can't find something, message our Facebook page, because I also will run that. So I'll try to answer any question you have. We talked quite a bit about the volunteer program. I've mentioned fostering a couple times, but there is more information like the foster manual and application on our website as well. If you think you'd be able to invite an animal into your home for a short period of time. A lot of times it's baby animals, but sometimes it's seniors or animals that had a surgery that need help recovering. There's all different kinds of situations for fosters as well. And if you just don't have the time to commit, there are so many other small ways you can help us by signing up for like Amazon Smile, Dylan's Community Rewards. We post every Wednesday almost different wish list items we need that would help the animals. So next time you're out shopping, if you just pick up an item on our wish list, there's just so many ways that you can help and support. So do not hesitate to get in touch with us if you want to help.
Awesome. Well, thank you both again for taking the time to chat with us today. The Helping Hands has been doing such a great thing here in Topeka for so long. So we're excited to work alongside your organization and hopefully get some folks over to you all that would be interested in helping volunteer.
Thank you.
You're welcome.